Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We're talking about guns at the state fair because I am tired of this namby-pamby, holly-hobby that we play at the Texas state government level where we act like guns is scary. No, if we can do that in 49 other states, we can't do that here. And so there's a bill that passed the Texas State Senate, hadn't passed the House yet, that would allow concealed carry license gun owners to have their guns at the state fair, but not the rest of us. And I don't think this goes nearly far enough. In fact, I think the Texas State Fair should be an absolute celebration of guns and gun culture and gun history and all things gun related. We should have a whole exhibit hall dedicated to guns. We should have shooting tournaments. We should have trick shooting shows. We should have a gun flea market. Big tech should be holding the gun. And where are you people? You know, because I hear from the gun people when I call a magazine a clip or vice versa. Or if I say something that has like a hammerless 38, I'll get 28 emails. People are like, it's an internal hammer, you idiot. You shouldn't talk about guns unless you know what you're talking about. Well, all you people that are so pro-gun, why do y'all put up with this? Why don't we have gun exhibits at the Texas State Fair? Who's calling for that? I don't see the NRA calling for that. I don't see any of y'all calling for that. Where are you at on this one? 800-288-9227. This is Jason in Midlothian. What do you think about guns at the state fair, Jason?
Man, I think it should be open carry. I believe probably some of those pellet gun targets, maybe we should win prizes for that. Maybe a ring toss deal. I don't see any problem with it.
So am I just not hearing from the pro-gun people about how we should expand guns? And because, you know, they focus on the legislative stuff, but I feel even within the pro-gun lobby, they ignore cultural issues to a huge detriment of the cause. Like letting the Washington Bullets be renamed the Washington Wizards. How did we let that stand? It's like, oh, well, we can't be associated with guns. Oh, you mean the only country with a Second Amendment can't be have their capital associated with guns? Really?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't understand it. I don't know if people are just scared. The media puts a lot of this information in your head. I think it should be allowed, and I don't understand why it isn't.
Okay, great. I agree. We all agree. Anyone disagree? Does anyone talk me out of having a shooting tournament at the Texas State Fair? Talk me out of that. Talk me out of we should have a gun exhibition. We should be showing our kids how cool guns are. You know how they're always trying to normalize their lifestyle choices with kiddos, so much so that they want to have like secret conversations with kids without their parents' permissions about certain issues. We should be doing that about guns. We should be fighting tooth and nail. We should be making the Washington Bullets. We'll rename them back to the Washington Bullets, not the Wizards. What is the historical or cultural connection between Washington, D.C. and wizards? Has there ever been a wizard in Washington, D.C.? Are there wizards that are just intertwined throughout our cultural and political history? No? Well, then what the heck? Why are we letting all this stuff slide? We should have gun clubs in schools. Now, don't call in. I know. Shh, I don't want to tell all the secrets. What y'all don't know is like out in the country, like we do our own thing. Like stuff that we're not supposed to do. Evil stuff, you know, like pray at football games on the stadium loudspeaker. Oh my God, a public school had a prayer. Separation Church is saying, dude, we do it anyway. You're not going to catch us. You're not going to know. We do all kinds of stuff out there. We didn't wear masks either. We wore masks for about 6 weeks, and then we didn't for the rest of 2020, 2021. It was never a thing. You people in the city, you have no idea. You have no idea. You would be so much happier if you knew, too. This is Kim in Weatherford. You're on the James Show. What do you think?
I think that concealed handguns at the State Fair of Texas are fine, but I think that if you just allow anyone to be able to carry a gun, you're going to have a nutcase walk in there and blow a lot of people away. So I think it's safer to have a concealed handgun.
Okay, so if you don't allow people who don't have the license to carry a gun in the state fair, that will prevent people from being shot at the state fair.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so with that, explain how people in 2023 got shot at the state fair by a guy who was not allowed to legally carry a gun in there.
That's what I'm saying. You're always going to have a nutcase, but if you allow anyone to carry a gun and it's allowed, then you're going to have the nutcases just go berserk. It's going to be more than just one.
Oh, it'll be even
person
worse.
carrying.
That's what you're saying. It'll be
Yes,
even worse.
Yes. But if you have concealed handgun, those nutcases have to think about, okay, who is carrying
now
and
you're-
who is not.
Is this a theory, or do you have some sort of evidence that your theory would be borne out to be true? Because you say that like it's a foregone conclusion. But in years past, we didn't have bans on anyone carrying guns at the State Fair of Texas. Did we have more or less shootings then?
We've always had shootings at the State Fair of Texas. They're just not publicized on television like they are nowadays. But back in the day, I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. There was a shooting every year, and probably more than one that maybe I can't remember, but there was always shootings. My dad was a Dallas cop. I know.
Okay. You're I think you're thinking too small here. Think back 100 years. Was there more people carrying guns and fewer people being shot at the state fair?
I don't know. I wasn't around. I'm not that old. I'm getting there, but I'm not that old.
Right, but you're making statements that are kind of predicated on you knowing the history. If you're saying this like it's a foregone conclusion, the rest of us assume you've probably Googled this or know that, hey, when we had it wide open for people carrying guns, there was a lot more shootings. But you don't know, do you? You're just saying that like it's true.
I don't know.
Right.
I just know that there's been shootings at the state fair over all the years. Every single year, it just wasn't publicized. But people were not allowed to carry guns, supposedly. But it was the whack jobs that got in with the guns.
So you are sitting here and still on your position saying that even with restriction on people carrying guns, there has been a steady stream of shootings at the state fair. In fact, it's normal. It's kind of goes all the way back through at least your lifetime. So we have evidence that gun restriction doesn't prevent shootings at the state fair, but we don't have any evidence that when we had it wide open that things were worse.
Correct.
Okay, so you are like 180 degrees opposite of what logic would dictate. The scientific method, the conclusion that is just laid in front of your feet.
I guess I'm not following what you're saying there.
Okay, we have evidence that with gun control, with some restrictions on guns, that there's regular shootings. It didn't stop shootings, hasn't stopped them your entire life. We have 50 years of evidence from your clear memory. Now, before that, if you go back a certain time, before we had gun control and gun restrictions at the state fair, I think we all understand that there was probably a time when the state fair was wide open and most people were carrying guns. Do you know if there were more or less shootings then? I would submit it's less. Now, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but this is the pattern that happens with so many of these other instances when we talk about gun control. When we were all carrying guns, you know, there was fewer shootings.
Oh, I agree with that, but we didn't have the drug problems we have now, and that's what is promoting a lot of the shootings now.
Okay.
People are just messed up on drugs.
All right, so now it's the drugs. Kim, I want you to think about the conversation we just had, because you just laid out my case. Because my case is that if you have the restrictions there, you're still going to have the shootings, but you're only going to have bad people there armed. In fact, I would submit we try it my way, Kim, and see if there's a disincentive for people to go on shooting sprees inside the state fair because they know there will be a bunch of hicks and hayseeds like me that'll be armed. Can we try it and see if we're right? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, Robert F. Kennedy wants new vaccines to undergo placebo testing. They weren't doing that already. Find out what that means next, and does that affect you or your kids any? That's coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there. Happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. So I saw in the news that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants all new vaccines to undergo placebo testing. They're not doing that already? Does this mean something? Because I figured they always checked if there was a placebo effect on all these vaccines. Have they not been doing it this entire time? Let's ask my next guest, Dr. Bill Hennessy, a healthy living expert on the James Show. Dr. Bill, do I understand the definition of what even placebo testing is? What is that?
Yeah, I'll go over with you. But my first question was your first question. You mean they're not doing that already?
Okay, good. So I'm not crazy.
No, well, you could be crazy, but you got common sense too. So I appreciate that.
All right.
So let's go over a couple rules of two with placebo testing, because I am an MD. I have published research in an earlier other life. A placebo, something either works or it doesn't work. There's two sides of that coin, heads and tails. So in order to be better than a placebo, something has to work more than 50% of the time. Now, me and you want a vaccine that we take to work 100% of the time. Nothing is perfect, but 90+% would be fantastic. So we're looking for two things. Number one, how efficacious is it? How much does it work better than 50%? And the other thing you and I want to know, and so does everybody else, what's the side effect profile? What three side effects does it have, and what's the percent? Does that happen 5%, 10%, 20% of the time? If we knew the benefits versus the risks as patients, as well as the doctors knew the benefits and risks, we could do this thing called make an informed decision statistically in our favor.
So I'm kind of still stuck on why weren't they doing this yesterday? But like, isn't there some sort of like legal exposure if you don't do this?
Oh, come on now. You know that big drug companies have lots of millions of dollars of lobbying money, and they control both sides of the aisle in D.C., and they get their way. And if you look at JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association, the Times New Roman size 0.5 font print, you'll see the study on the vaccines working was sponsored by both Moderna and Pfizer.
All right. So does this change how we should approach vaccines? Should we be more skeptical of them or less skeptical in the future?
As long as what RFK is saying, that's a good thing. I want to know how well it works and what the side effect profile is before I put it in my body. So I think it improves both the safety and efficacy going forward, and who uses it.
So do we need to change anything? Like if we have kids or grandkids that are about to get to that vaccine stage of healthcare, anything we should do different going forward?
Well, we like to use the two C's, care and common sense. So let's just talk about what you're not saying, but you probably are. COVID is the big one that everyone wants to talk about and even get political about. But let's just look at it from a medical standpoint. Please note, I'm not running for office.
Gotcha.
Elderly people and morbidly obese people are those most likely to get very sick and die. So as long as the efficacy is good of a vaccine and the side effect profile, those people should definitely get it. On the other hand, if you're a healthy child or you're taking no medicines and in your 20s or 30s and you're active, you probably don't need it. You gotta understand what that benefit is before you. Yes, it may prevent something, but if you're a healthy 20-year-old, I mean, the COVID's just like the flu or a cold to you. So what? Let your natural immune system take over. We're not better than the designer of the system, as my anatomy professor referred to him as.
Oh, I like that. A very poetic reference to God there. Dr. Bill Hennessy, CGASaves.com. Is that still your website outside of the James Show?
That is it. Helping millions save billions on healthcare.
Yeah, that's it's Care Guide. Care Guides. And for you people who already have bills or you're about to go run into one, that's his day job, helping you beat those bills down just a little bit. So thank you very much, Dr. Bill Hennessy on the James Show. Coming up next, new evidence and everyone's favorite El Salvadoran gangbanger We have both the body cam footage from when he got pulled over in Tennessee and a new audio recording from his wife talking about the abuse. I think I'm just going to have time for the body cam footage next, but you're going to love it. Stick around. That's coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM 93.3. All right, we got a lot coming up in this last hour of the show because I have Colonel Allen West, former Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, coming on in the next segment to give us a preview of what you can expect at tomorrow's local elections. And then following that, we have a special edition this is going to be really cool. We've never done this before, but I really like the sound of it, of Name That Artist. And in this one, Name That Artist, the category is going to be Tiger Beat covers. So guys that were on the cover of Tiger Beat in the 70s, and I believe you said there was some 80s there. So this is going to be a little bit different, but it's also kind of cool in the fact that we have a great prize to give away. Tickets to see Billy Idol are on the line, and if you don't like him, what about Joan Jett and the Blackhearts? If that's not enough of a reason to go, you need to get your head checked. So stick around. But right now, it just keeps happening over and over and over. We just keep finding out more evidence on America's favorite El Salvadoran Maryland father, Abrego Garcia. We just keep seeing more and more and more evidence that of all the people you're going to advocate for, really, this guy. And the important part to remember when I'm going to play you these next couple of audio clips, you had a sitting senator and 5 congressmen go visit this dude in El Salvador. Do they go visit anyone in their own districts in prison? Do they ever advocate for an American citizen this hard, for their own constituents this hard? I mean, even if you are going to go for an illegal immigrant, why this one? Why do you have to pick a guy who, by all objective evidence, sounds like he's just kind of a terrible human being? So, you know what? I will play the clip. This is the wife. She is begging a judge for a protective order against Abrego Garcia, and she describes one of the incidents of abuse where he took her phone, and so she got another one and ran outside and was trying to call the cops, and the cops were coming, but it was taking a long time, so she was hiding out in the neighbor's yard. Then he came over there and started hitting her.
So I saw a neighbor walking his dog, and I opened the door and I was like, help. And then when he heard me, like, he grabbed me from my hair and then he slapped me. And then the neighbor, like, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to react. I have pictures of the evidence, like all the bruises, because even on Wednesday, he hit me like around like 3 a.m. He would just wake up and like hit me. And then last Saturday for my daughter's birthday party, before I went to my daughter's birthday party, he slapped me 3 times.
Jesus.
And then last week I did call the police. My sister called the police because he hit me in front of my sister.
Okay. So, yeah, let's go advocate for this guy. Let's go bring this guy, this non-citizen, let's go drag him out of El Salvador and bring him back here illegally. Yeah, that's the kind of activity that'll make America a much better place to live. Wouldn't that be great if we get more wife beaters over here? Man, have you ever seen a senator go and simp for a wife beater like this? For a gang member? And in this other audio that I have, the audio's terrible because it's body cam footage. I don't even know if I really want to play it. But in this one, he's pulled over, and I wish you could see it because it's in a what looks to be maybe a Suburban, but it has extra seats in the back. So it's I don't know, it's kind of weird. And his English is terrible, by the way. Not that you're surprised by that. But the point is you're catching him in the act of trafficking human beings. Like, that's the conclusion the cops came to at the scene, which I thought this was just amazing. Now, this is reportedly from TMZ, but strangely, they don't get a whole lot of stuff wrong over at TMZ. So I just want you to hear some of this. First off, he's the one that's talking to the cop. I know his English is terrible. Just work with me here. But you'll hear a little of the end of the initial engagement. And this cop must be new because when he gets back, his partner explains to him what's going on. Because they can't see in the back windows. The tent's too thick. They have an extra row of seats in there. And they have 8 people packed into this car. And so what are you doing? You're going from Maryland to St. Louis, and they're in the middle of Tennessee now. Oh, you're just trafficking human beings around. Human trafficking.
Window?
Stand by.
How dark are they?
The color.
Yeah.
From Texas is good.
How many rows have you got in here? 4?
Where?
4 seats? 4 rows of seats?
Yeah, three seats. Yeah, we hit. Yeah.
Did y'all put an extra one in?
Huh?
Did y'all put another one in?
No.
It come like this?
Use the truck.
I've never seen one with that many seats in it.
You hear me? What you say? He's my boss.
I said I've never seen one with that many seats
Oh,
in
really?
it. Yeah. That's why I was asking if you put an extra one in.
No, it's the same. Like this.
Okay, and here comes the explanation. It'll cut to him talking to the other cop right here.
You know what you got, right? You know what you got here, right? He's hauling these people for money, is what he's doing. But sometimes they commingle dope. And
No. But
he,
did you see how squad in the back?
there's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say, if I had my
He
guess.
said that.
Wow. Okay. So, in your 2 new pieces of evidence for Abrego Garcia today, we've confirmed that he's a human trafficker and that he beats the snot out of his wife on a regular basis, just out of habit or sport, I guess. On top of that, whether or not you believe the knuckle tattoos recognize his connection to MS-13, that's pretty well documented in many other court documents, like 4 other cases that have popped up at this point. This is the guy that you all rally behind. This is the guy you go visit in a foreign country. You go visit him in prison. Good job, guys. You really picked a winner there. That's going to work out for you. Great. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, the legend, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, is going to be on the show to highlight the local elections that you're going to go vote on tomorrow, aren't you? Because you're a good little voter. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. You know, earlier in the show, someone was fussing me. They're like, why are we talking about jogging? There's a big election tomorrow. We'll talk. We can do both. We already talked about it on Wednesday and Thursday and a couple of shows last week. But here to give me the ultimate assist with it is legendary political figure here in North Texas, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, back on the James Show. Welcome back, Alan.
It's good to be with you, James. Thanks so much, and I appreciate you attending our Reagan Day dinner last Saturday.
Oh, it was an honor. I'm a huge fan of Rand Paul, and I really enjoyed how he was kind of happy-go-lucky, and the more he was talking about the situation around the COVID reaction and the lies and the cover-ups and the all the dastardly deeds that are happening behind the curtains, you could tell he was just getting irritated as the speech went on because he was reliving all those moments in his head. And you know what? I was getting pretty irritated too.
I think a lot of people were, and let's just pray, as he said, we don't get fooled again, as the song by The Who goes.
Right on. Okay, so we have a lot of people out there who their ears just perked up because, Alan, they forgot all about this election that's happening tomorrow. For the average citizen, what do they need to be focused on?
They need to be focused on the local level of governance, which is really the most important because it touches your life every single day. So tomorrow is the last day for the municipal level elections across Dallas County and also adjoining counties, where we're looking at city council, mayoral elections, school board elections, and it's really vital that people get out and vote in this final day. We need to have a good turnout because these are the people that are making the decisions about your safety and security. If you had not seen the new Dallas police chief, Daniel Comeau, who was selected by the city manager, of course, the city manager selected by the Dallas City Council, his very first interview was horrific. He didn't talk about supporting more police, which they should have, according to the citizen-led petition that passed. He didn't talk about working with ICE. So in other words, here's a law enforcement official that doesn't want to enforce the law and protect citizens here in Dallas and Dallas County from Trinidad and MS-13, some of these other very nefarious terrorist organizations.
Well, y'all have a lot of good maps and helpful tools at your website, dallasgop.org. Is that where you would recommend people in Dallas go? And is there an equivalent for other counties?
Yeah, I think there would be. If you go to the Collin County or Tarrant County, ours is dallasgop.org, and you can learn more about some of these municipal elections. And I think it's imperative that, again, look at your voter registration card, know what city council district you're in, know who is out there running for mayor, and try to do your best due diligence right now. I live in Garland, and I already voted the very first day of early voting last week, Tuesday. But again, we need to start learning about these local level candidates, which is also important because this is kind of like your bench. This is how you build your farm team. And these are the folks that maybe you want to see elevated to run for state house, state senate, and some other elected positions later on.
I saw a report that only 6% of people have voted in early voting. Do you have some sort of estimate on what you think the turnout will be after tomorrow?
Well, I will tell you that the average, if you go back and you look at past years, is 6 to 8%. The last municipal level elections, I looked at some of the Dallas City Council races. There were people that won city council races with just 884 votes. I think the most was a little over 1,400 votes. And that level of apathy is the reason why you turn around and you don't have an adequate response time for police in the city of Dallas, and you don't have an adequate number of police. So I think it's really important that people pay attention, try to study up, and like I say, go to your respective county GOP websites and learn about these candidates because people say it's nonpartisan. That's a wink, wink, fingers crossed behind the back.
Yeah, we all know better than that. Well, it's so hard to get in on the individual races, though, because maybe 10% of our listening audience is actually voting in Dallas and maybe 10% in Fort Worth. And so, I'm leaving a whole lot of people out of the discussion when I start to talk about individual things. But I have a couple of giant projects that I've seen on some of the ballots. Like one that comes to mind is this theater idea in Frisco that's going to cost $380 million. It's totally unnecessary, and people are not falling all over themselves to see a live Broadway musical in Frisco. Is there any big bond issues or projects like that really stick out to you?
Well, like I said, I live here in Garland, and there are several bond issues here in Garland, and I voted for two of them. The other two I did not vote because I vote for them because I did not see them as being necessary as far as the mission, task, and purpose of local level governance. So again, we know that the Dallas City Council went out and voted $6.2 million to count trees in the city of
Yes,
Dallas.
that was great.
If you don't pay attention to these things, this is how people waste your tax dollars. And then they come back and tell you they have to raise your millage rate and your local taxes.
Well, I have an aunt and uncle out there in Garland. So Kathy, Randy, when y'all vote tomorrow, what are the bonds that they should vote against?
I would say A, B, C, and D. I voted for A and D. I did not vote for B and C.
Well, there you go. We got a little specific help there for, my wife's uncle and aunt, but I've been married to her for like 15 years, so they're mine now too. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, American Constitutional Rights Union and Dallas GOP. What eighth job do you have now?
Well, you can follow me on all the social media platforms, not TikTok, and also the Steadfast and Loyal podcast.
There you go. Thank you very much, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West on the James Show. Don't forget, y'all, tomorrow is Election Day. Find out where you're going to go vote and what you're voting on today. Don't figure it out on your phone while you're waiting in line. All right, coming up next, we're going to do a special edition of Name That Artist. And this is cool because today's category is Tiger Beat. Garrett, do you even know what a Tiger Beat is? Yeah, you never had a magazine subscription in your life, have you? Yeah, you've never had. He hasn't. He's like 28 and he's never had a magazine subscription. Sports Illustrated? Okay, well, you got saved. You're not a complete baby. My kids have never used a phone with buttons. How about that? But coming up next, Name That Artist for 2 tickets to see Billy Idol and Joan Jett on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. If you want to play Name That Artist, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. We're going to be playing for 2 tickets to see Billy Idol coming to Dickies Arena on May 7th. Special guests Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Get tickets and information at livenation.com, or if you want to try and win them now, 800-288-9227. Or maybe you want to call after you listen to today's montage. Today's category is Tiger Beat. All right, Bruce, you are the brainchild behind this. Bruce, the program director for WBAP, who's rarely on the air here, so kind of a neat trick we're pulling here. Is this a Rocky Horror Picture Show reference? All right, so why Tiger Beat? Did you have a subscription to Tiger Beat when you were a young man? That's weird. Well, how are you familiar with Tiger Beat? Do you have a sister? Do you have a sister that had Tiger Beat? Okay, because I had a sister, and there was like a string of them. And if there was a guy that she liked on the cover, my poor mom had to buy it. So, all right, so Tiger Beat, these all look like they're from the 70s? No, tell me more about it. Why would it be so important to you? I don't understand. All right. Oh my God, those songs were terrible, Bruce. No. All right, 800-288-9227. There's still a couple of lines open if you want to get in the rotation. Maybe you could just be the last person standing and not have to get any of them right. Bruce, when I was listening to that, I knew 3. 3, sir. All right, so let's just go ahead and get it started with, we'll start with Barbara. Barbara, did you actually take the time to write down all the artists? Did you pull out like a notepad file on your phone and type it in?
The truth? No.
All right. Hey, do you have a piece of paper or a pen or some ability to write this stuff down?
No.
You don't?
I'll be okay, though.
Well, you just going to memorize it?
Yeah.
Okay,
You
hang
mean
on.
I have to... Oh, so I don't get to hear it again? I just
No, you'll get to hear. We'll play it for
okay.
you again, but this gives you the chance to write it down. All right, hang on. Go ahead, do it again. All right, that was, again, I think I only got 2 that time. Does that help, Barbara in Dallas?
So I have to name them all without hearing them again, right? Are you there?
Okay. Yeah, let's go. What you got?
I'm just going to say Johnny Osmond.
Donny Osmond was in there.
Oh, so they don't have to be in order?
We can try.
Okay. The Bee Gees' younger brother.
Andy, I'll take that.
Yep. Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5.
Okay. That's
What's the guy's name? What's his name? Cassidy guy.
Sean Cassidy, sure.
Sean Cassidy. And Davy Jones?
Yeah, we're going to hand it off here. All right, let's go to Irving and Azel. Irvin, what's your list sound like? You ready?
Yeah.
All right, go.
So, man, I I was gonna give this a really good shot, and I thought that I had some answers for you, but really, I'm just laughing. It's hilarious. Those songs are crazy. But anyway, I don't have an answer, man. I'm sorry I wasted your time.
How about we just keep the tickets then? How about we just never do Tiger Beat again? I never play that montage again. Does nobody want to play? 800-288-9227. It's going great, Bruce. What? Look at how hard this is. I turn 48 next month. Oh yeah, it's almost next week. It's almost my birthday, by the way. And if it's like before my time, we're running out of people who know this stuff. All right. Tom Hurst, you ready to go?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Jackson, Bee Gees, Tom Clancy, David, Donny Osmond, and the last I can't remember. Michael Jackson.
Well, there was a Michael Jackson in there. I kind of want to give it to Barbara. All right. Barbara?
Yes, James.
How about I just give you the tickets and we admit this is a huge embarrassing failure? Oh, yeah, now everyone's calling in. Now I have 30 people that know if you were going to be the last person at the end of the rope, you would have gotten it.
Am I getting it?
Yeah, it's true. These other people are too late, Barbara.
Thank you, James.
Thank you. Hang on. Garrett will get your information, and we'll email you the tickets to go see Billy Idol with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts at Dickies Arena next week on May 7th. For the rest of us, tickets at livenation.com. All you people on hold, you should have called when I told you the first time. Now you have to go to livenation.com. All right, coming back, I'm going to play a couple of funny viral video audios, and then we'll get out of here and have our weekend. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. The next James Show meetup, I believe I have a place for that's going to be in Keller. But then we also might do something in attachment with the, in adjacent to the Rob Schneider coming to town, and maybe we could do like a little happy hour with him. I don't know. We're working on some stuff, but if you want to go ahead and nominate a place for a future James Show listener meetup, then just let me know, james@wbap.com, or find me on Facebook and send me a Facebook instant messenger message. And for all you people that email me on Name That Artist, it doesn't work like that. You have to call in. And John actually made a good point. His wife wanted to know, we never said all the names of the list. Good point, John. That was an oversight by me. I'm glad you caught it. Sorry, I failed you as a host, but John has my back. So the list on Name That Artist in the last segment, it was Sean Cassidy, Jackson 5, Bobby Sherman, Andy Gibb, the DeFranco family, David Cassidy, Leif Garrett, Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods, Donny Osmond, and John Travolta. Okay? Didn't mean to leave you hanging there. I want to leave you, before we all go off and have an awesome weekend, with a little perspective here on just how good you have it. I mean, myself too. But just the fact that we live in 2025 in the greatest state, in the greatest country the world has ever known. Of course, we don't appreciate it like we should. We can go back 300 years to when Versailles was brand new. Versailles, the royal palace, because Paris was getting too stinky and they wanted to have a little more room and a little more safety from the rampaging mob. So they built this giant palace out there. Doesn't have one toilet in it, though. You know what that means? That means that people were using chamber pots mostly, and then they would just chunk it out, or maybe whiz in the hallway, or when you go through the garden, drop trowel, let it go there. And by all reports, after 1 year, Versailles smelled so bad you could barely stand it. You had the ladies that were fanning their face. It wasn't because it was too hot, because it stank too bad. Now, that wasn't really unusual for that time. That's what all of Paris smelled like. But Versailles was supposed to be one of the things getting away from all that smell. And it turned out it really didn't matter if you were the richest person in the world or the poorest person in the world. You were probably walking down the street on someone's waste products. You were probably smelling them at all times. There was always flies buzzing around. There was always parasites and infections and bacteria and viruses. And it was just nasty. And then I saw a video on PragerU where they made a good point that you would rather live in a studio apartment in the building across the street from me right now, the lowest rung of society, than you would be a royal in Versailles. And it's not just the toilet. It's that you have air conditioning, a refrigerator, Netflix, antibiotics, food that doesn't spoil after 1 day. So yeah, this will make you appreciate life a little bit more.
Louis XIV's magnificent Palace of Versailles had no proper waste facilities. People relieved themselves where they stood, in hallways, behind curtains, and in the gardens. One contemporary observer noted that Versailles was the receptacle of all of humanity's horrors.
Gross.
The passageways, corridors, and courtyards are filled with urine and fecal matter.
Great.
This is Louis XIV we are talking about, maybe the richest man on earth at the time. Ask yourself this question. Would you prefer to live in a studio apartment with electricity, a window air conditioner, and indoor plumbing, or a Versailles palace with none of these things?
So the conclusion is we live like kings, better than kings used to, actually.
When you look at the world that we live in, we're like, there's been 100 billion people ever, right? We are in the top percentile in terms of the luck that we have had. The lives, like the calorific intake that we just take for granted. The fact that our children don't die, in the first year. The modern medicine and our lives and the entertainment that we get. We're living like kings.
Yeah, even better than that, being in America, if you make more than $30,000 a year in your household, everyone in your household, if it adds up to more than $30,000, you're in the 1% on Earth. So don't be so bummed out. Don't be in such a bad mood. Go out and appreciate it this weekend. And then we can all be worried and stressed out about work and school and whatever else on Monday. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.